Hey. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Fourth and Fantasy. I am Honcho, and as always, this is my guy,
Rocco. Call me Rocco.
Rocco. Come home, Rocco. Nothing else. How you feeling, my G? Happy holidays. I hope you had a good Christmas.
It was pretty good. It was pretty good. Lamar Jackson kicked some ass, and
He sure did.
as well as Derrick Henry. So I'm off to a good start in a couple leagues.
I can
Waiting to see
say,
them do their
yeah.
thing. Patrick Mahomes is good and getting back to his elite self, right as most people that have him are eliminated from the playoffs. So good luck with that.
Yeah, shout out to the Baltimore Ravens. A couple of good guys on their team, specifically their tight end, got me a good little lead, a nice little, some points, well needed points in the championship game. So we moving into the right direction. But like I just said, this is the championship week. We are coming into the last bit of this wonderful 2024 fantasy season, and it has been a wonderful season to say the least. I'm very sad actually because this is just my second season of Dynasty, and it already feels like I knew I was drawn in after the first year. This second year has caught me back in, and I'm looking at more championships. I'm in more leagues. That means more championships. I don't like how would you say your overall season was, Rocco?
Oh, this is the best. This is the best damn season of Dynasty football I've ever had. I made it to the finals in all of my big money leagues, and I'm in a total of 8 finals
Okay,
out of 25, which 5 of those were rebuilding. So, mission accomplished in those leagues. But
mission accomplished.
to make it into the finals in damn near half my leagues, and even to take down my co-host in the Super Friends Volume 2 League after all that mess that
I
was
was
talking
talking. I was. Y'all remember last
after
week? I was talking all that. Yeah, man.
after a
It didn't
45
turn
corner
out.
league.
It didn't turn out very well for the kid. It didn't.
But you did beat me in the in the best ball league. I won the free league, but I mean it's free. Who gives a shit?
I was
TBH.
mad. I was so mad. I was up super up for like 20 points in Super Friends, and then all I just see is this man's points just start to take off, and he ended up like blowing me out by at least 50 points. It was wild times. Anthony Richardson started going off. Jonathan Taylor started to go off. There were some other members on his team that started to go off, and I just knew I was done so at one point. So I hope he brings it home. Shout out to that boy that I mean he's holding fourth and fantasy down very well. We were going to be well represented in that league, so I'm not too mad about it. And as another battle of fourth and fantasy, right now me and Max are battling each other for the chip.
Oh,
And
nice.
yes, in one of our leagues, dumpster fire. We're going against each other right now.
The
The Steelers did
dumpster
not
fire.
the Steelers did not set me out on a good path on that one. I would must say Pickens, and I had to start Najee, and they both were just eh. So Max, if you're watching my G, you got the Steelers might have done you some little justice, but we'll see. Like you said, I'm in numerous championships. It's been a fun ride. I'm in when it comes to money leagues. I'm in two. I'm lasting in two, and we're looking good. One person just got ruled out today. We'll talk about them a little bit later on in the show. That kind of threw a little fork into my day as we try to bring home a chip. But we're going to pivot as always, and hopefully we can actually take one home. But as always, follow us on Blue Sky, that wonderful app, as we love to talk about. As always, we this it's been a busy holiday, man. As and with the fantasy season coming to an end, you're definitely going to see more postings about our top our top guys in the draft, whether it's quarterback, running back, receiver, tight end, whether our draft strategies, how you supposed to, or how we're thinking about layering these guys of some of our favorite guys and some of our underrated guys. So it's going to be a lot of more depth, a lot more. We do Debbie Player of the Week, but we're definitely going to be taking a lot bigger dive into these prospects, so we can be very well prepared coming when these rookie drafts do come aboard.
Absolutely. It's one game away from rookie draft season, so it's
Hmm.
fast approaching, and you're probably not going to get too many first round picks out of people unless they're are in a championship game and truly desperate. So if your trade deadline is still open, I would send out offers to the two participants in that game and see if you can't, um, uncover value in trades, and if you haven't traded some of those older guys on your team, or you just want to get off some guys that are giving product that are producing right now. Now is your best chance to do it because a lot of people are going into this championship game injured, hurt, or
Yep.
busted. So they will do just about anything to, win that money, win that trophy, and it's also a good time to make offers for some of those injured guys because those injured guys aren't going to help these people in the championship game win money.
Hmm.
So that's another asset you can go after if they don't have the picks you're looking for. So
Yeah.
it's still not over even for the people that are out of it. You still have ways to improve your team right now.
Yeah, I will say in certain leagues where the trade deadline has moved past and you can't really make any moves right now until the off season, I've sort of checked out a little bit, but not. What I mean, I'm still in there trying to check out. You never know what players hit the waivers. That people around this time of year, people just start emptying their rosters. So I'm just keeping an eye out for those. But for as Rocco's pointed out, with those leagues that do have trade deadlines that are still open, or that don't have trade deadlines, excuse me. See what those teams in the playoffs or in that championship game, or they're trying to improve too. Actually, it brings me to a conversation in one of my leagues where someone started an argument because they were like, "Oh, typically, trades are a lot and teams aren't able to upgrade in a let's say a championship week." Uh, and I was just like, "Man, listen, in none of my leagues that I'm a commissioner in, we don't have trade deadlines. I don't like it, especially in Dynasty. I think you should be open and fluid. And then when you're, especially when with me and how we go about Dynasty, it's a 365 type of deal. So yeah, I am a total advocate for no trade deadlines, whether it's championship week or not. Get them things in and keeps people active.
I mean, honestly, you know, somebody would be screwed right now if they had CD Lamb and Jalen Hurts on their team, and they would have pretty much no way of winning their game. So you give them that one last opportunity to do what they do to make a move to get somebody that could help them win, and it's going to be a win-win situation because you that person probably has to overpay um, in terms of assets to get that guy on his
Yep.
team, on her team to help win. So it can help the team that's out of the playoff race, and it can help somebody win money. And weird shit happens at the end of the season, so it's good to have those opportunities and avenues to acquire talent, to acquire assets,
Hmm.
because in most of our leagues, they are shit on the waiver wire. You know, people are jumping for Michael Carter on the chance that James Conner
Oh
might fall to
man,
them,
I've
and
seen
that's when you're truly
it's
desperate because I mean
it's
it's Michael
funny as
Carter.
hell.
Come on.
I've seen people jumping through hoops and nails, and it's almost been every league I've seen that people are still fighting tooth and nail to go get a chip for. They're like, oh, let me go get a Michael Carter, but like literally in the first reported practice of the week, they're like, oh. James Conner was at practice. He was just limited, but he looks okay. A couple of guys like James Conner, it sounds like he's going to be good to go for this week. Drake London, another guy who got hurt last week, hurt. He could have went back into the game. He should be good to go this week. So, and through the grapevine, we could be getting J.K. Dobbins back. So it's this is a couple. We do have holidays. Christmas was yesterday. We got a couple games yesterday. Now, that first game, Kansas City versus Steelers, I think it was interesting towards the beginning, and then it kind of just teared off towards the end.
Hmm.
But Kansas City came out victorious 29-10. They improved to 15-1. Mahomes went for three tutties, man. Three tutties, 320 yards. Kelsey gave us a very good game. I was actually going against Kelsey. Pissed me off to see him have one of his good old regular, and he passed Tony Gonzalez as the leading TD
He, he pissed
reception
he
leader.
pissed me off because I've been playing him for most of the year, and he's been getting me single digits for
Mm-hmm.
most of the last month. I sit his ass for Tucker Craft, and guess what? He goes off for 23.
You
Luckily, I
go for
also have
crazy.
Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry on that team, so I'm not too bad off. But it would have felt a lot better if I had those 23 points in my lineup. But I think that's sometimes you have fantasy and dynasty PSTD, and
Mm-hmm.
last year I lost because I had Kelsey in the championship game, and he got like 6 points, and I had Njoku with his 20 points sitting on my bench.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that was part of it. But I do like Tucker Craft, and I think the Green Bay will have to score some points against Minnesota. So hopefully, he doesn't screw me over too bad. But yeah, that's where we're at with Kelsey. As soon as you sit him on the bench, that's where he's gonna go off.
No, I love this game. What I thought was pretty interesting throughout the whole thing was you saw Xavier Worthy put together another nice game. Go for 8 catches, 79 yards, and one tutty. And you're seeing him just get more involved. Seeing him, the game slow down a little bit. Them get more innovative of how they get him the ball.
Something that's pretty interesting.
Mm,
Coach Speak Index, which is a really essential follow on the socials. Um, he put out a video of the offensive coordinator for Kansas City, basically saying Worthy is in that Rashi Rice role where he started off slow, and now he's gonna just skyrocket from here. So
mm.
it seems that's what he's doing. He's putting up Rashi Rice type performances in the last couple weeks, helping out a lot of people win ships from a guy that we really hadn't expected much from for a good portion of the season.
And then on top of that, when part of the game, and I spoke about this last week, DeAndre Hopkins. I had the chance to start him this week. I decided not to do that shit. Decided
Yeah,
not
good,
to do that
good
shit.
decision.
Just off of basically off of what I saw last week. I just didn't like, once again, the piece of the pie with Hollywood Brown being back has decreased. I know somebody who did. They took the gamble on starting Hollywood Brown this game, thinking, all right, that's another week with him in the offense. Maybe he'll have a nice week. He went for 4 catches, 46 yards, but it wasn't really anything spectacular. It was
He
just
got you close to
if
10 points. He won't lose you the week, but it's
yeah.
nothing. That's something that's gonna win you the week.
So the Kansas City Chiefs offense in general was swinging. It was good. Their running game was non-existent. Kareem Hunt, if it wasn't for that touchdown, he would have had a non-existent game. I think we might start to have a conversation about Isaiah Pacheco, even though he just came back, I believe 2 3 weeks ago. It's not looking, and that offensive line a little banged up. That offense
Hmm.
is that running game, man. Is I If I had to bet on Isaiah Pacheco, I wouldn't feel good at all, or
No,
as a
no.
long term option. You know what I'm saying? So And then if you look at the Steelers offense, Russell Wilson had an up and down game. You know, Najee Harris, 13 carries, 74 yards, 5.7 yards per carry. Jalen Warren, also 11 carries, 71 yards, 6.5 yards per carry. It seems like they were having a good day running the ball. Pat Farmouth had one of the better days out of all the receiving receivers for the Steelers offense. 7 catches, 60 yards. I wish he was there last week to do that shit for me, where I needed him most. He does that when he does that when I'm already out the chip. But it is what it is. It seems like George Pickens were getting quite frustrated throughout the game. It was there was a few catches that he had that got taken back because of penalty.
Hmm.
And I don't know how to feel about it. Once again, Gold Dogs, love my guy. If I may, and George Pickens once again was one of those people who I bought quite a bit, but I just don't know how to feel about him long term. Like the talent is there, the offensive coach. I want to see him get more touches. I want him to see him get the ball more. You want to see him kind of just chill out on the diva attitude a little bit.
Yeah.
But
I,
it's I
yeah.
don't know.
I think he's a super talented guy. Um, my worry is that just won't happen for him in Pittsburgh. Um, you know that the fact that they brought in Arthur Smith should let us know that he hates our fantasy teams and he's gonna
Mm.
do whatever he can to make our fantasy guys on his teams look like shit to the best of his ability. So we knew it was gonna be an even timeshare. He was even gonna. Hey, how are you? Got the little man on there. got we got a third member of Fourth and Fantasy here.
He came out of nowhere. But no, it was a good game. I no, it's I don't know what to think of the Steelers when it comes to them being a playoff team. I don't think they're legit. Keep it a buck. I don't think they have the offensive power and to go deep. I
Yeah,
could be wrong,
I
but
think the biggest problem with them is Russell Wilson took 5 sacks in this game,
yeah,
and he's only completing 5.5 yards per attempt. So everything's close to the line of scrimmage, and he's absorbing a lot of sacks. So there's no explosive element. I would, if I had George Pickens on my team, I would try to utilize him in a better way. But it's also somewhat on George Pickens because he seems to get easily frustrated with things. Um,
hmm
so he needs to play within himself as well because sometimes those frustrations lead to less playing time and less targets. I don't know if they're sending a message to him, but I'm almost to the point where I think George Pickens may have to go somewhere else to break out to his full potential.
I wouldn't be mad at that either. But we also had a second game on Christmas. They delighted us. We had the wonderful Baltimore Ravens versus Houston Texans, and that kind of was a crapshoot. It was boring. It was a snooze fest. 31-2, Baltimore Ravens coming out on top.
It was fun
And throughout this whole,
if you're a Ravens fan or if you got Derrick Henry or
if you
Lamar
had them,
Jackson
like
on your
I,
team.
yes, if you like I,
Then it was a
me,
wonderful game.
it was a wonderful game.
Mark
27 carries.
Andrews, not so much for Zay Flowers enthusiast, um, not so much for pretty much anybody else on the teams, but
Mhm.
Derrick Henry
Well,
looked like he could have easily went for 200 yards in that game. He was ripping off, 8 yards seemingly every time he touched the ball.
you can say
Um,
Mark Andrews too. He had a nice
yeah,
day.
yeah. 2 catches, but he made the most of it with
He made the
the
most, and
63
that's what I
yard,
needed. Yeah.
63 yard catch, and also I think it was a 1 yard touchdown in the end zone where nobody covered him because Derrick Henry was kicking their ass up and down the field. So no, they would have rather leave people wide open in the end zone, then have Derrick Henry crush them again for another touchdown. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, it was pretty much over, early in the third quarter. Um, I could have used a little bit more from Derrick Henry, but I'm happy with what I got. Um, and as far as the Texans, see that offense is just broken now.
Mm.
They haven't looked good in a long time. Uh, they I'm not sure what they need. It's almost like they need a new offensive identity because they've been over reliant on Joe Mixon for most of the year. That when Joe Mixon gets bottled up, they have no pivot and they have
Yeah.
no other game plan than to give it, over and over to Joe Mixon and let him carry and then play off of him. You got C.J. Stroud. You should. There should have been opportunities for Stroud during the season, to throw, to win games, and it just seems like, um, to me, it just seems like an over reliance on your running back, and now it's
Uh,
coming to roost. And that team looks like they are gonna get blown out in the first weekend of the NFL playoffs. That team just has nothing going for them. And if they weren't in the AFC South, then they're not even a playoff team. They're just blessed to be in one of the worst divisions in football. What are your
yeah.
thoughts on this one?
Well, they ended up getting down pretty quickly. So with that, Joe Mixon there, even when he was getting the ball, he wasn't running it. He didn't really have room to get going anyway. He only ran 9 times. Then when you John Mechie had one of the better days for the receivers with 5 catches and 48 yards. With Nico coming in with the highest yards total, but only 3 catches. I don't know what's going on with CJ Stroud, and I don't think it's all the way on him. And I think it's kind of funny how we all, or the fantasy community, or just football community in general, has flipped the switch on Bobby Slowick. Last year, he was
Yeah,
a great offensive coordinator, and he could do no wrong. And
nope.
the offense is humming. And next, a year goes by, and now he's the worst offensive coordinator in the league, as people like to think. So, is yes, or is
I
he
think
not doing what? Go ahead.
coaches sometimes get a little bit too much credit, and sometimes not. I think sometimes they take a little bit too much credit for the wins, and sometimes
Mm.
they take a little bit, uh, not too much credit, too much responsibility for the losses. I think a part of it is the offensive line cratering. He C.J. Stroud went a long, big part of the season without Nico Collins. Um, Tank Dell, he finally had a good game, and then what happened to him. So it's hard to gauge, but I just hope that we get the C.J. Stroud we got in his rookie year next year because it looks like it's not going to happen in 2024.
No, I don't think it is. With one more game, it's not going to happen in 2024. And then you got the playoffs around the corner, and I don't see them going deep. I see them getting bounced out. Something has to get done. You're going to have Tank Dell out for looking like all of 2025. So you're going to need someone across of Nico Collins, and then you're going to have Stephon Diggs if you do bring him back, coming back from an ACL. That's two of your top receivers having major injuries. I could. They did just pick up Deontay Johnson.
And it's a big opportunity for him.
For and on the waiver wire he could, and I don't think he. I want to be careful with my words. I don't think he's washed. I don't think the situation in Baltimore should be on him per
He
se.
was
I
he was
think
good in Carolina. He was really good
yeah.
this year until he got traded.
I think where it went wrong was Baltimore Ravens traded for him as a depth guy. He wasn't playing. He got frustrated, and you know he did what he did. Now he's on the Texans. Hopefully he can show out, or not even. I won't say show out, but he can show something in his last game. He still has to learn the playbook, but this I think Deontay Johnson. This is more for next year. The hype, with the season almost being over.
Yeah, I mean his one skill is he can get open. So hopefully, his ability to get open will help out C.J. Stroud because that's something that really nobody else on the team besides Nico Collins can do right now.
Rocco, we have major news today. We got major news. Star receiver CD Lamb has been shut down for the last game. Last two games, excuse me. Last two. Huh? Yes, last two games of the season with his shoulder. This is for someone like me who has a ton of CD Lamb and who has him in some leagues that I am fighting for the championship. Not something I wanted to hear on championship week, man. But this is something that if you watch the Dallas Cowboys, if you watch just CD Lamb in general, you've seen that he's been battling the last few weeks with that shoulder, toughing it out, grinding it. And you can just say he's a warrior. I loved everything. I can't. I'm sad to see that I won't see him from the last two games of the season, but I'd rather him be nice and healthy. He doesn't need surgery, so and we don't. We've been already eliminated out of the playoffs. But I don't know how do people pivot from this? I mean, I'm pivoting. I had to. I moved in the league that I have CD in the championship. I moved him out the way, and I'm now starting Demario Douglas. Shout out to you, my G. And I need you and Drake May to go stupid over the weekend. Stupid.
It could happen. I had the same choice when CD Lamb went down. I also had Demario Douglas in the league. I instead pivoted to Jalen Coker, just because I feel like he has a little bit more upside to help me win. Um, Demario Douglas, I don't think he's been consistently around 10 points, but um, he hasn't had really a big week. So I'm going to take a chance that Jalen Coker can kind of not expose because they've already been exposed, but the Tampa Bay secondary hasn't been good this year. And Coker has been one of the leading targets for the Carolina Panthers. So hopefully Chuba Hubbard gets held in check and we have to lean on Jalen Coker. Cokeheads unite. We're going with them this week.
Well, for me, it was either start Demario Douglas, and for me, looks I can't. DeAndre Hopkins already played, and I didn't even want to start him in the first place. But so it was either Demario Douglas or ride with Zach Ertz,
Hmm.
and Demario Douglas has the easier matchup. So, and Zach Ertz did have a solid week last week. And I don't know. It's that CD Lamb news kind of put a detriment in my day because I really want to win this one. I told myself this is the one league that last year I finished number one regular season. I finished again number one this regular season, but I got bounced out of the first round last year. I made it all the way to the championship this year, and I really wanted to bring it home. CD, I needed you, baby, but we're gonna be back. I'm still gonna try to
We
tough it out without you, man.
we are
Another
champions
injury
in the playoffs.
is man. You ain't gotta tell me. And that, speaking of the team that's actually playing right now, that I have on my television above me, the Seattle Seahawks, KW3, Kenneth Walker III, has been moved to IR. Is his 2004 season done? It have we
Yes,
seen the
yes,
last of his season?
it's done. It's done. They're not making the playoffs. Um, and IR's 4 games, so the team would have had to make it to the championship round
Mm.
for us to possibly see him again. Yeah, that shit ain't happening. His season's done. Come back stronger next year, and um, I don't know. He needs to protect his groin and his ankles uh, vigorously in the off season because it seems like every year there's a groin injury. Um, he's just been banged up, and I hate to see it because he's one of the most talented guys in the league. I've acquired him in a lot of different places. I guess people got tired of the bullshit with him being hurt all the time, but I'll take that.
I was gonna say.
I'll take
I
the
was gonna
risk.
say,
I'll take the
Rocco,
risk.
how would you going forward with, at this point we seen ever since his rookie year, he's missed time with injuries. Would you still feel comfortable buying Kenneth Walker the third if you were?
Fuck yeah!
Mm,
Look at J.K. Dobbins. Look at Frank Gore. Guys are injured
mm,
until they're not. Um, he's had some issues. He's had a lot of groin injuries. I don't know what's up with that. But
the price you would pay for him though, like
I give up a
for
2026 first right now.
I
I
don't
just
think I'm
gave
as
up a
lenient.
2025 late first I think in the Bucks League.
Mm.
Um,
I don't think I
so
could do it. I don't. Kendall, and I had the chance actually to grab him earlier in the season where someone was trying to sell him to me on. I don't know if you've done this before, but if you ever had been in leagues with been in a league with someone and y'all in different leagues together, you make one trade in one league and then that facilitates a trade in another one. So it's it's I don't like Kenneth Walker. I
you
think he's a
gain
really good
free
player.
information if you're in multiple leagues because you can just look and see who somebody trades for to see who they like, and if you have that player, you can go over there and say, I know you like this guy.
Mm,
Let's get something started. So
true.
that 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 helps. Like I know you and who you and Max like. So if I have
Mm,
CD Lamb, I know I'm gonna go holler at you.
yeah.
If I have Drake London, you know who I'm gonna talk to.
Now speaking on leagues, sometimes you might have to bail on one. You might have to just hit the okie doke, do an Irish goodbye. No, don't do an Irish goodbye. Always be
What's an
like,
Irish
always let
goodbye?
Irish when you just up and dip without telling nobody.
Oh, you
That's an
just
Irish
ghost?
goodbye. Yeah, you just go out the way. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it's actually justified to leave a league. Rocco, tell the people before I give my reasonings why I would think about leaving the league. Especially us being in a lot of leagues, and thinking about the 2025 season, we're going to want to do startups. We're going to want to do new leagues. Hell, we're going to be starting a fourth in fantasy league up and coming. What factors go into you leaving the league to
Well,
downsize?
there's several factors. One factor that I try not to leave a league for is, something that I did to the team. Like if I, sold all my assets to try to win a championship, those aren't the leagues I'm gonna leave. I made my bed. I'm gonna sleep in it. Um, but the reasons I would leave a league is because mainly if the commissioner is a dickhead.
Hmm.
Um, if he's just an abrasive person that changes the rules without, consulting with the league, he does shady stuff. I'm in a league that I'm probably going to leave. Um, I reached out to the commissioner and asked him if the person I was playing, because it's an ESPN league, so it's no easy way to contact the other person that you're playing.
Hmm.
So I contacted the commission. I asked him if he wanted to reach out to the person I'm playing and change the split in the pot, and the winnings. And didn't get back with me. Didn't get back with me. We have a
Hmm.
group me set up for the league, which is kind of dumb because why do I need another social app to contact these people I'm in the league with? So I finally posted on there and asked him, and he's like all pissed off, and it's no split, bro. I was like, oh, okay. What's the what's the pot? It's the same every year. Just write the shit down. Why you got to keep asking me? Like, I'm asking you because it's not posted anywhere.
Mm,
Um, but that's cool. You know what I feel like he was doing was he was he was he was delaying a little bit, so his guy could see if he did good on the Wednesday games, because I wanted to have clarity before the Wednesday game started, because he had Lamar Jackson and Joe Mixon and the
mm.
kicker, one of the kickers who actually got a zero. I think he was
Shout out to
trying
that
to
man. Shout
I
out to
think
that
he
boy.
was I think he was trying to delay. And if his guys did good, he would say no split, and if his guys did bad, he'd go, oh, he wants to split. Like, no, fuck you. We not, uh, we not. Just tell me what it is beforehand, and the fact that you get pissed off because you didn't answer my question for 2 days, and now I'm like trying to find out, before the game start on Christmas. I don't give a shit what you're doing. You should have answered me
Yeah.
2 days ago, but
Fuck you.
you fucking you postpone this shit as long as possible to try to okey doke on me. Nah, you could have that fucking league. I don't need that fucking league. Just because I won it
Yeah.
twice and might win it a third time is not a reason for me to stay in that league. Um, the other reasons that I would leave a league, you know, besides weird shit happening with the commissioner, is just a dead league. Like, nobody talks, nobody trades, nobody
Nobody
makes a
likes that
trade
shit.
request. Um, you know, it's just the only thing
That's
you
a
could do
headache.
is the only thing you could do is set your lineup, because there's just no motion going on in this league at all.
There's no room for you. There's
Yeah,
no room in my
it,
leagues for you. This is go out for any of you inactive motherfuckers out there that want to join any of my dynasty leagues. I
oh
ain't going
yeah.
for it,
I
and you
seen
will
you
be
pull
replaced.
you pull the plug on him quick. I seen you in
I'm
action.
gonna get
I
you out,
seen you
get
in
you up out
action.
of there quick.
I think I joined about 3 leagues in that manner in your leagues. Because if they, if they, if they, you're not around, you can't answer. A
Not doing
simple
it, bro.
message,
Not
you haven't
playing.
made a move in a couple months, and you're just not doing shit. Then you can get
I'm
out.
not going for it, bro.
Um,
It's not. I'm not. I don't. I keep telling. I don't hold hand. We are all grown adults. We all have a lives. We all. You know what I'm saying? No, I'm not doing it. So it don't. If you don't. Once again, some people are built for dynasty. Some people are built for redraft. Know what you're good at. Know what best fits
mhm.
for you, and stay to that. If you know you're not. You don't have the time for dynasty. Don't play for. Don't play dynasty. It's that
Yeah.
simple.
And another reason would be like, if the other managers in the league are just dickheads, they just talk shit about. I mean, everybody likes a good shit talking,
Oh
but
yeah, 100%.
um, there's shit talking, and then there's just annoying people,
Yeah,
or people that want to talk about stuff outside of fantasy football, like politics, or just bullshit like that. I can't deal with that nonsense. This is fantasy football chat.
yeah. We ain't here for that. We're not here for nothing else but some fantasy football, man.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I mean,
no,
we
I
can talk
think
some shit, but
yeah,
there's talking shit, and then there's just dickheads that you just don't want to deal with. And if I wouldn't want to deal with you in regular life, or on my socials, then why am I hanging around playing fantasy football with you?
100%. Rocco made some very valid points, and I agree with actually all of them. Where it comes to 100, when it comes to the commissioner, that plays a very big part. Does the commissioner let all these shady trades fly by? Does he change rules without
Yeah,
announcing the changes to the league? Those are the things that you need to pay attention to because there are shady commissioners that will do these sly things. And this is why I pay attention to almost everything in the league. I look at the rules. I look at the pin messages because that's what they're there for. And
yeah,
any changes in my leagues, any changes that get made are pinned. So
yeah,
next time anybody needs to go back and look at it, they can just go in there and look without actually needing to ask. Other reasons why I would leave a league is once again, like Rocco said, if it's inactive, if it's making trades is like pulling teeth. I don't want to be in it. It's not fun. It kills the drive for me, and it makes the league stale. You know, an
Yeah,
active, not you don't need to be to make hella trades. You don't need to be flying off the wall, but healthy trades throughout the season is what keeps a league going year and year and year and out.
just respond to my trade offer. If you don't like my trade offer, tell me to fuck off. But
Yeah, just go. Yeah,
when
please.
people just have don't respond to trade offers for like a couple months, that's not cool.
That's not
That's not cool. Just tell me you're not a trading person. That way I can move on. Um, but but just respond. Don't leave me on red.
So if you had to think about the leagues that you're in now, because right now I stopped counting, but I'm in 40 plus leagues, and I told myself each one of these guys probably will get a 3 year commitment out of me. But I said did one or two that I might have an exception for, just because the league and the commissioner itself. But are you thinking about leaving any leagues for the
Oh yeah,
2025
I
season?
haven't done a full breakdown of all of the leagues I'm in, but I'm sure I'm gonna leave a couple without thinking too hard about it. I know there's at least a couple, and those two couple that I leave are gonna just make room for the leagues I join in in this off season.
Mhm.
I think 25 is about my limit. So any leagues I join, I want to kind of cut out that many leagues.
Mhm.
So yeah, there's a couple. I know there's a couple with shithead commissioners that I just don't want to deal with, and it's worth the money, even if you paid extra year in advance like most leagues do. It's worth the money not to have to just deal with that shit because you're always going to be paying every year, so it doesn't matter if you paid in early. That's already a sunk cost.
I don't know how I feel about the whole paid upfront. And I get it because it mediates the stupid shit that you deal with people just up and leaving the league. Because I've seen some people just up and leave, like a $50 league. I seen some people just leave. Why? Why would you just waste your money like that? You're not going. I don't want to just be robbed for the free. You gonna have to work to get this money. You feel me? You gonna have to
Yeah.
take me out. You gonna have to work for that.
Well, the worst part is people totally destroying a team and leaving it with no value,
Oh,
and
those
then
are the
and then
worst.
and then leaving where you almost have to convince somebody to take over that league.
You have to pay the
Um,
lead dude. Like you have to pay that whoever takes over that team is almost like you have to be like, oh, I'll pay your that up and coming league dude if you just take over this team. You don't have to pay for
yeah,
it. I just need you for it.
I had a league with a couple guys left teams in such bad spots. I had to shrink the league into a 10-team league. That was the only way to keep it going. And I really kind of wanted to bail on it, but there was about 7 guys that were totally locked in. So that's why I kept it rolling. But I was very tempted to nuke that league. But yeah, people can
Yeah,
leave
don't be.
and really leave teams in a bad space and leave commissioners in a bad spot to try to fill this league up.
Yeah, don't feel bad. Don't. Okay, I'll take that back. Feel bad if you just up and leave the league. Like if you don't give no fair warning, the league is active, it's doing what they need to do, and you just up and leave. You're one of those people I don't like. You're the fantasy people that I don't want in my leagues. I don't bang with y'all. But the ones that do have a justified reason, like if you personally just don't get along with anybody in that league, there's no reason why you should stick around for torment. There's literally cyberbullying. You're leaving yourself up to cyberbullying,
And
and you
if you
can
like
just
other guys
leave.
in that league, message them on the side and ask them if they want to join your next league.
Yeah, just do it up and that, or join a fourth and fantasy league.
Fourth in fantasy league.
Mm. But
You know how to pull people in there.
that's our reasons to up and leave a league, and we will be up and leaving leagues very soon. So, yeah. But we're our last topic of the night of the episode is a continuance of our last episode of our top 10 tight ends in Dynasty, where we went through 6 through 10 or 10 through 6. Today, we're going to finish that out 5 through 1, and you will get our tight end 1 in Dynasty. I think at this point, it's a pretty given who that is and who that might be. But let me get my spreadsheet up and rolling, going.
Let's go.
All right. That's a little too close. There we go. All right. This is where we left off last time. Just to give a recap, Rocco at his number 10 spot has Isaiah Likely. And after I finish this list, Rocco, you can tell me if you're still sticking by this or have this changed since. We have Isaiah Likely at 10. We have Travis Kelsey at 9. We have Jonnu Smith at 8. Kyle Pitts at 7. And TJ Hawkinson at 6.
Yeah, I'd probably move down Kyle Pitts to just ahead of Isaiah Likely and bump up the other two.
All right. So we
You
have
can only give me so many 0 point weeks before I just lose my mind.
so Isaiah Likely is being he's still on his list.
He's still on the list. I like Likely. He scored a touchdown on Christmas, and if it wasn't for
Uh,
Mark Andrews, he'd probably be a lot higher on this list. I just think he's a very naturally talented guy.
so he's the last guy. I don't know, man. That fumble that he had into the end zone this last game. Uh, it's I don't know what to do with Kyle Pitts, bro. Kyle Pitts,
Yeah,
if you watch the Fourth and Fantasy, if you see how serious I just got, bro, listen, I don't know how much more of an advocate I could be for you, player. I don't know how much I can keep, trying to keep these boys off of you, thinking that you don't love the game, man, because you out here laying out eggs. I don't know. How many times can I pitch on potential, my G? I need you to get it together. There's only one more game of the season. I could stay a truther, and I can't be a cow pitch truther for another season, my boy. What are
if
we
it was,
doing?
man, if it wasn't for that 1,000 yard rookie season, um, yeah, and the fact that um, he lost a season and a half due to a destroyed knee, he probably wouldn't be on this list. But tight end such a weak position that I can keep a guy in my top 10 just on promise and upside alone. So that's why it's hard for me to take him off this list.
All right, so
Just
today
because I
today
just
we
don't
go.
see the other guys below him, um, you know, uh, being that much more valuable.
So today we're gonna switch it up a little bit. Sometimes, the last few times we just rip. I would say rip, but we where you gave your 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then I gave my 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Today, let's go hand to hand. So you
Okay.
give your 5, I give my 5. You give your 4, I give my 4 until we get to our 1.
All right. I like it. My
Let's do
five,
it.
my five. Um, After last season, he was the tight end one in Dynasty. He slipped a little bit because he basically didn't do anything for the first half of the season, but he's been coming on strong lately. Give me Sam Laporta. He's still in the elite offense,
Sam Laporta.
and he can go off for a couple touchdowns any given week. He's just not as trustworthy as he was last year.
Are you still a believer? I mean, okay, it's hard to say you can't be a believer in Sam Laporta, right? Since he's only in his second year NFL, coming going into his third year next year, right? But as a Sam Laporta guy, I love me some Sam Laporta. And after his rookie year, you had people, I think, overdrafting him. Where
He
would
was a
you?
second round dynasty pick, startup
I'm
pick coming
telling.
this offseason.
He was. I seen him go as early as late first. Had me thinking, what are we doing for tight end premium leagues? Had yeah, as what are we doing? You know what I mean?
See me, I'm
But
more of a wait on tight end type of guy.
see, same. But that also got me in trouble with Evan Ingram getting hurt. But that's besides the point. That's besides the point. Sometimes you with the tight end position. If you don't have one of the top five guys, I feel like, or top six, seven, everything else is kind of a crapshoot. You know, it's a hit or miss. You can so
You had to go
my
aggressively after Janu.
at that number five, I would agree. I would go Sam Laporta as well at that number five spot. Once again, I liked what we saw from him for his rookie year. Did he have the same type of level of sophomore year? No, he did take a slump back. Obviously, Jameson Williams has had a better year. He's been more evolved. He's has more catches. I think Jameson might be pretty close to 1,000 yard season. I don't think he will hit it. I think he'll probably end up a few yards shy. He's at 890, so he'll need 110 yards
Could do it.
this last game to hit 1,000 for the year. You know, good milestone for him. So going forward, I like me and Sam Laporta. He's still young. You know, like it's said to be, what that offense would look like after Ben Johnson leaves in the offseason. If he leaves, he might stay, but if he does end up leaving, I do want to see what that offense does look like for Sam Laporta going forward. So who's your number four guy, Rocco?
All right, at number four. Oh, geez, there's a mistake here.
Oh,
Um, uh, it's my mistake.
hmm.
But in my top 10, you could kick Kyle Pitts out the club. I didn't
Out
have
the
my guy.
club.
I didn't have my guy Njoku in there, and obviously Njoku was number six. I don't know what I did, but
I got you.
just gotta do some housekeeping here. I don't know how Njoku got out of my top 10, but that needs to be rectified immediately. I can only have one upside guy on this list because Njoku's
So
still having big years at the tight end
he's having a
position.
year.
He's fully in his prime, and hopefully they get a quarterback in Cleveland. But at
So
number four,
Njoku at that sixth spot. Is that correct?
yes,
All right.
yes, him and Hawkinson are really close, but Hawkinson is still coming off of the knee injury. And Njoku's a little banged up, but he's been mostly healthy for the last couple years.
Hmm.
But at number four, I'm gonna go with a guy who's probably, if not the tight end one this year, he's pretty damn close to it. If it wasn't for age, he would be a lot higher on this list. Give me George Kittle. He's gonna he's
Ah.
look he's gonna probably crest 1,000 yards, eight
Mhm.
touchdowns, um, over 70 catches, and he is the probably the best player in the San Francisco offense, and he's one of the few remaining guys in that offense.
Mhm.
Like I said, if he wasn't uh, about to be 30 years old, he would probably be higher on this list. And the fact that there's a lot of other potential good pieces to the San Francisco offense, you see him sometimes take a step back. If there's other guys with other guys in that offense, especially when Ayuk was healthy. But this year
Yeah.
he's been the true top target on that team, and there's just no way he can be any lower than top four on my list.
I can agree with that one. I will go to bat for that. I very much do love me some George Kittle. Whether when you think about the tight end position, now in modern age, you think about the receiving, you think about the highlight plays, right? But George Kittle likes the dirty plays. He likes to block. He likes to just put you to the ground. And that's something that I very much appreciate about Kittle's character and what he brings to the game. And that's why he is also at my number 4 spot.
Nice. We're in lockstep on
Even
that
if
one.
even if he is a San Francisco 49er and I can't stand the mother effers, it's hard to keep him out the top 4. He's producing. He does have a really good quarterback in Purdy. Yes, he is sturdy, and but we seen tight ends produce like Travis Kelsey for up until like they're 34, 35, as long as they're able to go and do it, we seen them go. So absolutely love George Kittle at number 4. That is my guy. At number, we're getting to that top 3 part. What are we thinking, my G? What's who's at
All
number
right.
3?
I got another old guy who did some good things for you on Christmas.
Yes, he did.
Um, and he, no matter how often this team tries to put other top targets in this team, it seems like he is still the top target for the Baltimore Ravens. Maybe not in catches and yards, but definitely in touchdowns.
Mhm.
Mandrews, a guy that started off slow and is still, having a hell of a year even with his slow start. So um, it's hard not to keep Mandrews. He's 2 years younger than George Kittle, and that's part of the reason why he's ahead of him on this list.
Love me some Mark Andrews, and I knew there was a couple people who hopped off the train earlier in the season, the first month of the season. I had somebody early in the season in the $50 league that I'm currently in the championship league, offer me a third round pick for Mark Andrews. That's how bad Mark Andrews was producing. He wasn't giving no one value. That they thought they could just swing you a third for the number. I think what Mark Andrews might be top 5. He might be the number 5 tight end this year at 29 after having a slow start to the season due to a car accident. It's
Yeah.
almost like he's still good at football, right? It's almost like that offense still revolves heavily around Mark Andrews, and he's been on a touchdown streak the last couple of weeks. I love me
Oh,
some Mark Andrews.
well, if you look at it, looking at his box scores here, he didn't have
Mhm.
a touchdown until week 6, and he has 10 touchdowns right now. So I guess that can kind of put it in perspective on what kind of
Mhm.
touchdown tear he's been on. To score 10 touchdowns in 11 games, that's pretty prolific. Before week 6, his best performance was 4 catches, basically 9 PPR points, no touchdowns, and he also had a couple goose eggs. So that was the time to strike on a Mark Andrews trade, was when he had back-to-back 0 point games, because you're not gonna get him that cheap anymore.
No, you're not going to get Mark Andrews, and I am so happy because Mark Andrews wasn't on my team when I initially started this off season. Or you know what I mean? And he wasn't my target. He wasn't my tight end when I ended last season. I actually ended up having what was it? I had Michael Mayer, and then Michael. I flipped Michael Mayer and something else. Ended up getting Dawson Kincaid in the trade, and then I was like, I don't think I really like Dawson Kincaid. Like, there's when there's people were going crazy when Stephon Diggs got traded from Buffalo. People were like, Dawson Kincaid's going to have tight end 1 season. He's the guy now. I traded Dawson Kincaid for Mark Andrews, and boy, was that the move, my tight end move of the year. Like, Mark
Man,
Andrews, I needed a tight end, and he has been the tight end for me. So shout out
I
to you, Mark Andrews.
I don't mean to interrupt, but
Yeah,
I don't
brother.
know if you were watching the game, but DeAndre
I'm watching it
Swift
right
just
now.
tried. He just tried to jump over 3 defenders on the sideline.
Oh
He's
yeah,
lucky he's still
they were
alive.
playing it. Yeah, DeAndre
Like,
Swift,
bro, what are
baby.
you
I don't know.
doing? Like, that
Go
was the
dogs.
dumbest thing. That was the dumbest thing
Go
you might
dogs.
see in a while.
Yeah, I
All right.
mean, it's not now that I'm looking at it though, and not to get too off, uh, it's not seem like the game hasn't been not too many big plays. It's kind of
Ooh,
boring. I think it's what
there we
three
go.
three zero right now.
Yeah, but
Yeah, it is 3-0.
my guy, he hasn't done anything spectacular, but they've been hyper targeting him so far. DJ Moore. Um,
DJ Moore,
just
another
give
he's
me 15 and I'll feel good about it. Get me any more and I'll feel really good about several leagues. But before we get
so hit us
too
with your number
far
two. We got
off
we got we
track,
got number one. Yeah, number two. We
I think
got
everybody knows who these top two guys are based on who's coming off the board. Um, and these guys can kind of flip, um, but I'm gonna go with Trey McBride at number two. Um,
Trey
that
McBride.
that man is just so good. Where he came from last year, from being the backup to Zach Ertz, and just to come out of nowhere basically and be a league winner down the stretch for a lot of teams was pretty cool to see. So it makes you wonder how many guys are buried on teams, but um, he's got 92 receptions. He'll have 1,000 yards by the end of the next game. Uh, but what's kind of funny, and I put this on Kyler Murray, is that man has 0 touchdowns. Like, what are you doing? What are you
Yeah, he has
doing?
0 touchdowns on the year.
Zero,
Zero.
zero,
Yeah.
zero touchdowns. And that's going to be part of the reason why I have the guy over him. Um, but yeah, he's going to be number two, and I'll get into why he's number two and not number one when we talk about the next guy.
I think our top four guys are going to be our top five guys are going to be damn near identical, Rocco, because I am also going Trey
Great
McBride
minds.
at number two. He and there's a I always tell people how good Zach Ertz was to keep Trey McBride off the field, right? It's Trey McBride is one of those guys, PPR, if you have him in a PPR league, you're going to love him. He gets receptions, to counteract the. Well, I guess especially this year when he doesn't have touchdowns, right? So
None.
with
I
your
think he's
if your
got
tight
one
end,
recovery touchdown.
yeah, if your tight end is not scoring touchdowns, you better hope he's getting receptions and yards. So hopefully next year, Kyler Murray, and maybe we still need to start having a conversation about Kyler Murray. I hate to say that because I actually do like me some Kyler Murray. I thought he was going to have a better season with Marvin Harrison Jr. and then with your boy Trey McBride, but it just hasn't turned out to be what it was. And maybe they turn it around. Maybe it's a different offensive, play caller. It's a different head coach. I don't know, but at this point, you know, Trey McBride, I think, has solidified himself as that number two spot, and he might have, if it wasn't for this season that our number one guy has had, and I think how his career is going to go for it. Trey McBride would be tight end one, hands down, if it wasn't
Yeah,
for who I think our number one tight end in Dynasty is.
absolutely. Yeah, so our tight end one and most people's tight end one is going to be the same. Brock Bowers. Um, the thing that separates him from Trey McBride for me is this rookie year production. It separates him from basically any other tight end that's ever lived. Um, to put up over 100 yards, 1,000 yards, 100 catches is just
Mm.
unseen. It's not something tight ends do. It usually takes tight ends a long time to learn the league, learn the position, to actually put up numbers, um, and he's just blowing away. Every tight end except for touchdowns, he's blowing away every tight end statistic from a rookie, basically ever, and it's just
Mm.
crazy to think that he's doing this on a team that's total shit. And
As
it,
no
if he
quarterback.
was, you wonder what he would look like on a good team. So hopefully they get get a quarterback next year, but this guy is just the prototype. He's great after the catch. He's a great route runner. He's
Playmaker,
just
just
a
what you
great
want. What
athlete.
Yeah, what you want out of that tight end position, what the modern day tight end is right
Hmm.
now. Is we
Target
moved away
target
from
hog.
those 6'8". We moved away from those 6'8", 266. No, those I won't say we moved away because you still got like Dalton Schultz 6'5", Pat Fairmouth 6'5", those guys. No, but you've seen more of those guys who can flex out like a Browers who's
Yeah,
240
and he's
and do.
basically a slot receiver. He lines up
Mhm.
more than half of his plays in the slot, 17% out wide. So as an inline tight end, only a quarter of his plays. So very versatile where he can line up, and he's almost not even a tight end at this point. He's basically the number one receiver.
Yes, and he should be. He should be the number one option. That's how you treat a guy like that. That's how you treat a playmaker like that. You treat him as your number one guy. You try to get him the ball in as many ways that you can, whether it's inside, outside, inline, online. I mean it really just depends on what you're trying to do. And that's
Hmm.
why he is undoubtedly my tight end one. Go Dogs. You know how it is. Before we even started this list, where we were going with my boys, man. Brock Bowers, this term gets tossed out very loosely, generational. Generational running back, generational quarterback. Caleb Williams is a generational quarterback. Saquon Barkley is a generational running back. Marvin Harrison Jr. is a generational wide receiver. Brock Bowers is legitimately a generational tight end. The stats that he put up in college, we haven't seen it before. What he's been doing in the NFL as a rookie at the tight end position that normally has a upward curve to learn in the NFL. He has been balling. And then you brought up the QB situation that he's been dealing with. If he had even better, it's almost the same thing that we say about Malik Neighbors. If he had better QB play this season, man, especially with Neighbors, who I believe is top three, top five, if I'm thinking about it, top two in the NFL when it comes to targets. So Brock Bowers, tight end one. If you was able to get him at the later rounds of the first, you got him at a steal because I think he's going to be tight end one for quite some time, for maybe
Yeah,
probably his whole career at this point, if he
he's
doesn't get
tied.
hurt.
He's tied for second in receptions amongst receivers and tight ends. Just to put that in perspective, just a absolute target hog.
So guys, I'm looking at Dalton Kincaid did not make the top 10 list. Kyle Pitts did not make the top 10 list. Cole Kmet, I don't think he would have made anybody. I mean, unless he would. If you're out there and you think Cole Kmet's a top 10 tight end, bless your heart. But, you know, some of these guys like Benson, that I think he has potential to be a top 10 tight end eventually. But until Zach Ertz leaves, just don't see that happening. Kyle Pitts, I feel, has gotten all the opportunity he could. It's starting to look like dark hours. We're running out of excuses for him. I think Pat Firemouth actually, from his performance last game, he could secretly sneak into my top 10 list. I think he's super underutilized in that offense of what
If
he
he
could
wasn't
do.
on Pittsburgh, yeah.
Like if he
If he
was
wasn't
anywhere
if he
else, I
was
like
if
him.
he was anywhere else that actually targeted the tight ends, that actually ran a modern offense and not whatever the hell Arthur Smith's running out there.
Like,
Yeah,
bro,
he
think
could
about
absolutely
him.
sneak in there.
Think about him in Cincy. Think about him on
Yeah,
the Bengals, man. Come on, dog. Like
you put any of these
then
guys on Cincinnati and you liking what you see. I mean, take
that's
Cole
good.
Kmet
That's
out
a
of
good product.
Chicago and
Hmm.
away from those three receivers that are going to get most of the love and put him on Cincinnati. He looks good.
You said
Um,
that's a good luck. Oh, dude,
yeah,
you giving me ideas now.
Dallas
Don't get me
Dallas got
started.
Dallas Goddard. He is just like the epitome of like top 15 guy, and just the guy that's hard to trust on a week in week out basis.
Hmm.
When he has a good game, it helps, but you got to be ready for his floor, which is like 5 points.
With Tucker Craft, make your top 10. Looking back at it.
Tuck, Tucker Craft is close. I think Isaiah Likely has a little bit more variety of ways he's used. Tucker Craft's more in that,
I think he's more in line.
in line, make something
Yeah.
happen after the catch. I just think that Isaiah Likely showed a little bit more variety with his routes, with his abilities. For him, I think he could definitely raise up higher on this list if he was on a different team where he was given a chance to be the tight end one.
And not to you see Metcalf crashing out right now.
Who's crashing out?
DJ Metcalf.
Oh yeah, yeah, Metcalf. Poor
Man,
Metcalf.
crashing out right now.
Yeah, I don't think JSN has done anything in this game either.
No, and
I, s-
he was another guy I was thinking about trading for when I was one league for a championship
I,
push.
I like him. I like him, but it's hard to trust anything in Chicago in December. It gets cold, or it gets windy. I would like to see that team play in a dome one day, because the ball just does weird stuff in Chicago with that wind. Um, yeah,
But
so
yeah,
hopefully DJ Moore is all right. I saw him on the sideline. Hopefully he's just a little winded from being so involved in the game plan, and he could come out and
but
get me 15 points in the second half.
But no, this was our top 10. This is that top 10 TE list. I absolutely, I've grown to value the tight end position a little bit more. That was something in my first year on Dynasty where I was only in one league. My tight end position was the least, it's my weakest strength on the team, and it's grown into my second in most of my leagues. What's I say? It depends, right? In my money leagues, I'm working with that I'm in the championship right now. I'm working with Mark Andrews, Zach Ertz, and that's kind of it. I have Trimble, you know what I mean? But I think what will be fun when we get into draft season, when we get back into going over our tight end prospects, how they stack up against these guys on our top tight end list. Let's say like our wonderful guy that we love, Tyler Warren. Wh- Where would he be? I know he hasn't played a snap in the NFL yet, but could he, potentially knock one of these guys off of your top 10 list?
It's gonna everything on this is gonna depend on landing spot. I'm not sure. Maybe I haven't seen enough tape on these guys, but I don't know if any of the tight end class is gonna knock any of these guys off without knowing the landing spot. I mean,
Hmm.
if one of them goes to Cincinnati, yeah, then they're probably going to be in the top, 7 or 8 before they play a snap. But
Hmm.
um, I mean, they could go to, I don't know, Pittsburgh and be the tight end too with Fryermuth and Arthur Smith running the play. So
Yeah,
um,
don't
landing
waste
spot can
potential.
complete landing spot can completely nuke a tight end. So it's hard for me to move anybody out just on talent alone, unless you're like a Brock Bowers and you're just a generational player who's the team will have to adjust to you, not the other way around. There's not a Brock Bowers in this draft or any draft really, so um, it's hard for me to put stock in any incoming rookies. The running backs, yeah, I think the running backs could immediately jump into the upper echelon of running the running back list. just because I don't think the running backs that are in the league right now, there's not a lot of true size, speed, three down capability backs in the league. A lot of the guys, near the top of the list are just smaller. Um, Bijan's
Mhm.
the one guy, or they're older. So that's another thing.
Yeah.
Dynasty, you can
Well,
play the age game a little bit, so that's another thing
yep.
that can push these new guys up the list. And I think there's opportunity to be had in the league. So um, I think the running back class could definitely upend the top 10 dynasty running backs on my list and on most lists. But tight end is a little bit harder to break into that list.
Yeah, I think what I'm learning about Dynasty, and before we headed out uh, for the night, once again, thank you all for tuning in for another episode 17, almost at 20. But one of the things that I've noticed about Dynasty is that it's one of the things that keeps you on your toes because it's pivoting. You know, it's not like redraft. Guys have different values. People see things differently. Whether there's a trade deadline, whether how scoring of the league plays a part. RB premium, tight end premium. If they get you know age, when we think about being competitive, there's usually, unless you just have a juggernaut team, you typically have a 2 to 3 year window of competing, right? Where your guys are tip top. You have youth playing on your. If you did it right, you have youth playing on your side. They're at the top of their position, and they're giving you value. And then after that, that's when it could start getting a little gray, just depending on who it is. Like if you, let's say you go the older running back route to build out your RB room, maybe that window to compete is more on the lines of that 2 3 year gap. But let's say you go Jameer Gibbs and you have Bijan Robinson, you probably don't have that pair. Keep it a buck, unless you traded for it. But let's say you have that pair, that window to compete with your RB group grows from, I say, maybe now you're good for 5 years, 5 to 6 years now, of where you got good RB growth. So I'm more typically, I like old RBs. I like old running backs. I think they still have great value. We've seen with James Conner, the value that he holds with the Arizona Cardinals. Those workhorse backs, love him, and he's good value. If you miss out on those top five guys, but that is our show for today. It was another great one. It's always fun doing these things with you guys,
Oh
and
yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
yeah, it's we didn't start shooting our pod. I think until
Like
halfway through the
mid-season.
season. Yeah, like week 5, week 6, I believe. So it's been fun, man. And now we're getting to what a part that we actually really do enjoy, which is the rookie drafts, prospect scouting.
This is really
So
team
it's
building time right now.
mm-hmm. It's a lot more to be given to you guys, a lot
Whether
more
it's your
insight.
teams that you have or startup drafts, I can't wait to do some startup drafts, some rookie drafts. I mean,
Yes.
we can do these things live, and have a good time with it.
And this is, yes, we've made it to championship games, playoff games, the first round, second round. That is, but the reason why our teams got there is also because of the moves that we made during the regular season. But a lot of it is the moves that you make in the off season. That the reason why I'm actually in the championship game in my $50 money league after finishing number one last year and getting bounced out the playoffs first round, and then finishing again number one, but making it to the championship this time is because I thought about the moves I wanted to make, made them, and now they put me in a better position to get a championship and to get some money out of it. So those are the moves that we're going to be making now in these upcoming months.
Yeah, and I find that the season, and especially as you get into the playoffs, it gets to be a real stressful time because there's money on the line, it's gambling, and the wrong lineup decision you can really kick yourself in the ass until
Yep.
next year. Startup drafts, off-season trading, rookie drafts. That's fun. That's the
Hmm.
funnest time of the year for dynasty leagues. So, I'm ready for it to be over. Uh, you know, hopefully a few championships richer. We'll see.
We'll see.
You just never know. You did everything you could in the off season during the regular season, and up until game time, there's still trading going on. Um, but you made your best decisions, and you got to live with it. And hopefully, you're winning some ships with us.
Yes. So catch us Sunday, 11 a.m. Central Time for our last episode of the fantasy 2004 fantasy season. It has been a
Regular
fun
season.
one. Regular season, or actually, it's the
No,
season in general.
yeah,
Yeah,
fantasy season.
yeah,
There's
fantasy in
still
general. Yeah,
there's still real football playoff going on,
yeah.
and that will change people's value too because people will see some of the guys perform in the playoffs, and they'll get that value bump from doing it in the playoffs. So
Hmm.
still be active.
Yes, sir. But Rocco, my G, it was a fun one. Until Sunday, we're gonna be chopping it up. We're gonna be thinking about these topics to bring y'all, and it's fun. Thank you all. Hope y'all have a wonderful day. Hope you had a good Christmas, and we check you guys in Sunday.
Fourth and fantasy.